All right, so today we're diving into this book you sent me, Secrets to the Millionaire Mind,
Yeah.
and we talk a lot on this show about different ways to build wealth and different approaches to money.
Right.
But this one is really fascinating because it goes deeper into that psychological aspect of it,
Yeah, it really does.
the mindset.
The mindset.
So tell me a little bit about what is it about Secret to the Millionaire Mind that really stood out to you when you were reading it?
Well, I think for me, what's so interesting is that it all starts back when you're a kid.
Okay.
He talks about this thing called your financial blueprint. And
Yeah.
and it's basically like, the messages you receive about money when you're growing up
Hmm.
and how those messages really form your kind of like subconscious beliefs about money.
It's like those things you hear over and over again.
Exactly.
Like money doesn't grow on trees, or
Right. Or rich people are greedy.
yeah, or we can't afford that.
Yeah. And all of that stuff like really sinks in,
It's so true.
even if you don't realize it.
Right, and it's like you said, it becomes this blueprint you kind of operate from without even thinking about it.
Exactly, and it can be really hard to break free from that.
So what does Eker say about okay, so let's say we realize that we have this maybe not so helpful financial blueprint from childhood.
Right.
What do we do about it?
Well, he talks about this idea of personal responsibility. He says that, millionaires, they take ownership of their financial lives.
So it's not about blaming your parents or
Right.
blaming the economy or whatever.
Exactly. It's about saying, okay, this is where I'm at, and what can I do to change it?
It's empowering.
It is empowering.
So what are some of those things that millionaires do differently
Yeah.
in terms of their mindset?
One thing that he talks about a lot is thinking big. He says that, most people, they get stuck in this scarcity mindset.
Mm-hmm.
They're always worried about not having enough.
Right.
But millionaires, they have an abundance mindset.
So they believe that there's plenty to go around.
Exactly. They believe that they can create wealth and that there's no limit to what they can achieve.
I love that.
And he actually suggests writing down your ideal income, a specific number that feels exciting and a little scary.
It's like putting it out there into the universe.
Exactly. And it helps you to start thinking bigger.
That's a great tip.
Yeah, I think it's a really powerful exercise.
So, okay, so we've talked about the importance of understanding our financial blueprint from childhood
Right.
and then shifting to this mindset of personal responsibility and thinking big.
Yeah.
But what about some of the more practical aspects of managing money?
Sure. Well, Eker talks a lot about the importance of managing your money wisely.
Okay.
He says that millionaires, they're not just good at making money,
Mm-hmm.
they're also good at keeping it and making it grow.
So it's not just about earning, it's about what you do with it once you have it.
Exactly. And he has a lot of practical advice on things like budgeting,
Okay.
investing,
Mm.
building multiple income streams.
It sounds like he really covers a lot of ground.
He does.
And one thing that I was really struck by in the book is this emphasis on self-worth.
Yes.
He talks about how millionaires have a strong sense of self-worth, and that's what fuels their success.
It's so true.
But I'm curious to hear more about that. What does that actually look like in practice? How do we see that connection in the way millionaires think and act?
Well, I think one way is in their willingness to ask for what they're worth. They don't undersell themselves. They know their value, and they're not afraid to negotiate for it.
So it's about recognizing that you have something valuable to offer
Exactly.
and believing that you deserve to be compensated for it.
Right. And this can show up in so many different areas, like negotiating a salary,
Mm-hmm.
asking for a raise.
Or even just setting your rates if you're a freelancer or an entrepreneur.
Exactly. It's about not settling for less than you deserve.
And that can be tough for a lot of people.
It can be, especially if you've been raised to be humble or to not brag about your accomplishments.
Right. You don't want to seem arrogant or greedy.
Exactly. But Eker makes the point that in the world of business and finance, you have to be able to articulate your value.
It's not about bragging. It's about being confident in what you bring to the table.
Exactly. It's about being able to say, hey, this is what I'm good at, and this is how I can help you.
And that confidence really stems from that strong sense of self-worth.
Absolutely. If you don't believe in yourself, it's going to be really hard to convince anyone else to believe in you.
So it's kind of like an inside job.
It is. You have to start by believing in yourself.
And then that belief will radiate outwards.
Right. And it will show up in the way you carry yourself, the way you talk about your work, the way you negotiate.
Okay, so we've talked about how self-worth can influence our ability to ask for what we're worth.
Mm-hmm.
But what about other areas of our financial lives?
Well, I think another way that self-worth shows up is in our willingness to invest in ourselves.
Okay.
Millionaires, they're not afraid to spend money on things that will help them grow and develop.
So things like education courses, coaching.
Exactly. They see it as an investment in their future.
And it's not just about the money, it's also about the time and effort.
Right. They're willing to put in the work because they believe they're worth it.
And that belief really pays off in the long run.
It does, because the more you invest in yourself, the more valuable you become.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly. And this can be a really powerful shift in mindset for people who are used to putting themselves last.
Right, like maybe you've always prioritized everyone else's needs over your own.
Yeah, and it can be really hard to break out of that pattern.
But Eker's message is that you deserve to invest in yourself.
You are worthy of that time and energy and money.
And it's not selfish. It's actually essential for your success.
Exactly, because you can't pour from an empty cup.
You have to take care of yourself first.
Right, and that includes investing in your own growth and development.
Wow, this is so powerful.
It is, and I think it's one of the most important messages in the book.
I agree. It's really about shifting your mindset from scarcity to abundance.
And from self-doubt to self-belief.
And that's where true wealth begins.
Absolutely.
And, we've been talking about this idea of self-worth and how it relates to building wealth. And I'm really curious to hear more about, like what are some of those practical steps that people can take to cultivate that millionaire level of self-worth.
Yeah, well, Eker, he talks about, starting with really just kind of like taking stock of your strengths and your accomplishments. What are you good at? What are you proud of?
Like making the list.
Yeah, exactly. Like really taking the time to acknowledge your accomplishments.
Because I think sometimes it's easy to just kind of focus on what we're not good at or
Yeah.
what we haven't achieved yet.
Exactly. And it's like, give yourself some credit.
Mhm.
Celebrate those wins.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's also important to surround yourself with people who support you,
Absolutely.
like people who believe in you and who
Right.
encourage you to go after your goals.
Yeah, because, the people that you spend time with, they really have a big influence on your mindset.
And if you're surrounded by people who are constantly putting you down or,
Right.
Doubting your abilities,
It's going to be hard to feel good about yourself.
yeah, so it's really important to cultivate those positive relationships.
And another thing that Eker suggests is practicing affirmations,
Okay.
which is basically just like positive self-talk.
Like telling yourself that you're worthy and capable.
Exactly. And it might feel a little silly at first.
I was going to say, it sounds kind of cheesy
It can be, but it really does work.
if you do it consistently.
Right. It's about like rewiring those negative thought patterns.
Yeah, replacing those limiting beliefs with more empowering ones.
Self-worth, it's not something that you just like achieve overnight.
Right, it's a journey.
It's a journey. It's an ongoing process.
And I think it's important to be patient with yourself
Absolutely.
and to celebrate those small wins along the way.
Yeah, because, every step you take towards building your self-worth is a step towards building your wealth.
Wow. This has been such an eye-opening conversation.
Yeah.
I feel like we've really covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah, we have, from, childhood programming to income strategies.
And it's really amazing to see how all of these pieces fit together.
Yeah, it's all connected.
And I think it's such an empowering message because it means that we have the power to change our financial destiny.
We do. It all starts with our mindset.
Exactly. So if you're ready to start thinking and acting like a millionaire, I highly recommend checking out Secrets of the Millionaire Mind.
It's a great book.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a read.
All right, that's it for our deep dive into Secrets of the Millionaire Mind.
Thanks for joining us.